Today I want to share with you something about grace. The grace. No, this is not a new term or a new word to you. It's a word that is oftenly used. The grace. And what is grace? And grace is free and undeserved favor, especially of God. That is what the dictionary says. Grace is free, something that you don't have to buy, but it's free and undeserved. Something free and undeserved, especially from God. That is the grace. Or in other words, it's unmerited divine assistance. Not that word, assistance. Unmerited divine, okay? Divine assistance given to humans, okay? Given to humans. Divine assistance. All right? So, and I want to share with you 3 points that will enlighten you and that will help you understand what really grace is. And when you have this understanding, then you'll get to do something. You'll get to do something. And this is one of my understanding about the grace. And I'll give you good examples that you may also refer to and try to think beyond the lines. Think beyond and gain something important. That grace changes the rules of the environment. Grace changes the rules of the environment. Let me give you this example. And before then, we have heard that grace breaks the protocol. And that is very correct. I agree with that. I agree with that. Esther and the king as well as in the Bible. That is a perfect example. Okay? And that is Esther chapter 5 verse 2. And the Bible says that, and when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, she obtained favor in his sight. Then it goes on, and another part says, what is your request? This is king asking Esther. And then the king continues, it shall be given you. Remember, this time that there was this command that had been given out, that all Jews to be killed. They had been taken to captivity. They were in a strange land. And now a command was given for them to be executed. Okay, you see? There is this enemy of Jews who was called Naaman. Not Naaman, Haman. And this time, it was a period that nobody who ought to appear before the king, no matter how great the person was. All right? Esther now, she was the queen. But even if she was the queen, she ought not to go or visit the king. But after the Jews realized this, they cried all over. And now Mordecai took this opportunity and she spoke something to Queen Esther. And they declared 3 days fasting, 3 days fast, to pray about the issue. And after all this, Esther took a bold step and she appeared before the king. And we expect to see her executed or killed. But because of the favor Queen Esther, the king, spoke things that leave me or maybe you in amazement. She's asking that, what is your request? I am expecting to see the king become so harsh and maybe give a command for Queen Esther to be killed. But now even she says that our request shall be given. That is favor. Number 2 is that grace opens doors of life in an uncommon way. Grace of God opens doors in an uncommon way. All right? And I will give you an example from the book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 4. It is a story about the Joseph. Remember, Joseph was a son of Jacob, and his brothers hated him, and they sought so many ways to kill him. But they sold him finally to the Ishmaelites. He ended up getting to Egypt. Now, he was sold to Potiphar. You know, he is now a slave, but the Potiphar treats him in a very special way. He's not treating him just as a slave. And he sees this man is a good man, that Joseph is a good man. And even he put him to be an overseer on his household. You see? And verse 4 says, Joseph found favor in the eyes of Potiphar and served him. Then it continued to say, he made him an overseer. That, do you know what an overseer means? That is in charge of everything in the house of Potiphar, yet is a slave. That is favor. We expect to see him being treated so bad, but he's not an overseer. And Potiphar was a rich man. He was very, very wealthy. Number 3, grace eases the work. Grace eases the work. When grace locates you, you don't have to struggle so much. Yes, we will have to work, but we don't have to strain so much, because I remember from my definition that grace is a divine assistance. Okay? Yeah, you don't have to work so hard. Grace is work. And this is what we can learn from this. That always pray for grace when at your hustle. Alright? While you are at your job, while you are working, or in whatever thing you are doing, always pray for the grace. And whichever thing you are doing, pray for the grace of God. It is not always about the hard work. It is not all the times the intelligence that you have. It is not all the times the good strategies that you put in place. It's not all about the strategies that you put in place. It's not all about the connections that you have. But you need the grace of God. You need the grace. You need the grace of God. Because the grace makes the difference. It is the grace that makes the difference, not the handwork, but the grace of God. You may be good at something. You may be very intelligent, but you need the grace of God to sustain you in that job. You need the grace of God to sustain you in that thing that you are doing. Now, don't forget to watch my videos, like, share, and subscribe.